I've heard people say that diamonds are a girl's best friend. I would have to disagree. They are, so far, they're just wonderful. Clean as a whistle. And I took my straight edge across here. So any of you who've watched my channel know that I'm a huge fan of Paul Sellers. Love his YouTube videos. I love where he comes from. This is his new book of teaching people how to be carpenters using the old tools, the old method. I love his philosophy about it, and I like the fact that he's not about pretentiousness, shows guys like you and me how to do things without spending a ton of money in a really satisfying way. You know, from building the carpenter's bench, which I've built using his plans. But one thing I've wanted for a long time, and I've been saving for them, is a set of the diamond plates that he recommends. I do a lot of sharpening of chisels and planer blades and all types of things, and I've used the wet and dry sandpaper, and it works pretty good, but actually it's been kind of unsatisfactory, and I've always had my eyes on these diamond plates. You can see here, this is what he advocates. This is what he uses to sharpen his chisels for all his schools. One thing that I really like that he's got is he's built a wooden block there to recess all of his diamonds in, from his coarse to fine to super fine, having them all in one place in a way you can grip them into the vise. So I want to talk about the stones a little bit, and we're going to go right in to making one of these diamond plate carrier holders. I was so excited when Amazon brought that box in last night with my new diamond stones. Man, I have been wanting these for so long, and I'm not disappointed. Messed around with them a little bit yesterday, and they are, so far, they're just wonderful. So 3 of them. Why 3 of them? Well, the first one is a coarse, 250 grit. Super, what they call coarse, and then the medium one is the 600, considered the fine, and the super fine, which is 1200, super fine. You know, for some reason I thought when these things were going to come that they were going to be diamond impregnated all the way through, and that, you know, if one side got worn out you could flip it over. But now that I see it and I realize, well, of course, that's why these are so expensive, because they need to use as little bit material as possible. So there's a nice heavy plate. They got a real heavy feel to them, a steel plate, and just that really thin coating with the diamonds over the top of them. Wonderful stones. They came with little rubber feet, silicone feet on the bottom, but you really run the risk of dropping them and damaging the corners. I've used stones, I know how they are, and it's kind of inconvenient. So to have them all on one board where you can just grab one thing where they're all secure in there and they're all protected I think is a wonderful idea. So I've got a real special piece of wood picked out, and we'll go in and we'll build this using all hand tools, and then try it out and see how it works, see how good of an edge we can get on our chisels and our plane irons. So here's the base piece of red oak that was milled on a homemade bandsaw mill by a good friend of mine. And he gave me a big piece of that, and I've been saving it for something special. But one problem with it was really it had a warp in it. So I used my planer and just quickly flattened this side here so it's just perfectly flat, and we're going to do it to the other side as well. We want this to be, you can see right there, you can see how much there's a wave in that, but it's plenty thick, so when we get everything done we still should have 3/4 of an inch or so. You don't need to use oak, you can use whatever you have. Paul Sellers used just a piece of pine wood on his, so anything you have would be fine. I just wanted this this is something I'm going to have for a long time, and I don't work with oak very often, and actually I don't think I've ever used it. So it'd be kind of fun to play around with and see how it turns out. So I want to kind of show you what I'm talking about this board not being flat. Back in the day, and I want to preface this, I'm not an expert woodworker at all. I'm learning by watching Paul Sellers' videos, by reading his books, and just kind of getting in there and doing it. So I don't want to come off as an expert at this at all. I'm just talking what little bit I know about this. But back in the day, if you wanted a board and you wanted it to be dimensional, for fine furniture or something, you had to plane that down by hand. Now we have these fantastic planers where you just run them through and they come out to within 1/1000th of an inch. Super tight tolerances, very simple, but it's not so simple doing it by hand. So I worked quite a bit on this, but you can see here, this is the part right here that I finished all with a hand planer. And I take my straight edge across here, and you can see I have a pretty uniform, nice flat top. We want that to be pretty flat. really flat for our stones, and so we have that uniformity. But it was really bad, just like this side. So this is the side here, you can see the rough cut from the sawmill where it's been untouched. So look at that, you can see all of that right there in the waist there in the middle is a big gap, almost maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, but all the way through here you can see daylight. Look at that, you got even an 1/8 of an inch on this side where that's so bowed out. We need that to be flat, so we'll take that all down with our plane and have a nice piece of stock here to work with. So one amazing side effect, I guess, of using the hand tools and really properly sharpened blades is what it brings out, how it brings out in the wood. Normally everything I've done in the past has been using sandpaper, and the sandpaper, it doesn't have a razor sharp slice, like a cross section of what the wood really looks like. It kind of scratches it all up, even with fine, and it fills in the little pores and stuff, and it's completely different. It has a different feel. This here, using a blade that is really sharp, is as smooth as glass, and sandpaper's never touched it. Let me show you a little micro on the macro level here of what that looks like. So here you can see close up, I hope you can, how beautiful those wood grains are. It's just completely different. I can feel the difference. I can see the difference. I mean, it just, sandpaper to me now, when I see something finished in sandpaper, it's kind of a disappointment because it doesn't have that luster, that shine, and that really freshly cut grains like you see in here. Look at these here, these little cellular areas right there where that blade just sliced them just clean as a whistle, rather than nothing is filled up with sawdust like you get with fine sandpaper. It's just extraordinary. I completely forgot to mention, how come I'm not finishing the box before I start this project? Well, I was filming the next section of the box and I did something really stupid, and I broke the spur on my rabbet plane. Right here, this little piece. I looked all over, and unfortunately Stanley has discontinued them and you can't get them anymore. And it was my own fault that I broke it, but I did find one on eBay and I ordered it yesterday and it shipped today. So as soon as that little piece comes back, then we'll get back on finish up the box. Okay, so now we've got to flatten this rough side. Again, this is we'll use our beautiful Wilton vise and our homemade dog system here, which works splendidly. I don't know how I got by so many years without a proper carpenter's bench like this. It was one of the best things I've ever spent my time on building. So we're going to use the old Craftsman Handyman, or no, what is this? I forget. The Handyman, Stanley Handyman. This is the bottom line of their lower end of planes, but I haven't been spoiled by using a good one yet, so it seems to work just fine for me. So what we want to do, I'll probably get on this other side here, is that the sole of the plane is flat, and that's going to show us here right away. It's going to want to take the high spots down, and the low spots are going to be revealed. So right here we could see. So it looks like I'm going back and forth on this, but I'm not. I'm pushing the sole of the plane is down flat on the forward cut. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to over-exaggerate this here. I lift it up. It doesn't have to lift up a lot, but you can get, the more I do it, I kind of get proficient at it, I can get pretty fast. So I'm not just going back and forth. Oh, that is so nice. That blade is so sharp, or that iron, I guess you call it. Look at the shavings. Nice. Boy, the oak is, so far it's pretty nice to work with. Boy, that blade is sharp. I got that blade sharp with those diamonds last night. It didn't take but maybe a minute. It worked so good. I'm excited to get them all in a nice plate. There you can see now. We can see that we've still got a belly in there. We got a concave in there. We're still high on the tops, but each time that I plane, this will get smaller and smaller and smaller. Very enjoyable, this. It really is incredible to me how quickly and efficiently, in just a few minutes, if your tool is set up right, if it's sharpened properly, how easy it is to do something like this. Because think about it, I mean, if you have a board that needs to be flat and you don't have a tool like this and you don't have an electric planer, how do you do it? It's not easy to do. I mean, you could belt sand it down, but that's not ideal. It's just, I just continue to marvel at the efficiency of the old tools. And when a guy like myself that has no experience, very little experience with them, can get good results in such a short amount of time, I think is really a testimony to how well thought out they are and how well refined and designed. It's really something. So I'm just going to go over here, and I know I'm pretty flat because I'm getting pretty even shavings along the whole stroke. So I'll just smooth that out one last time across here. And then we'll try put our straight edge on it and see how we did. So what I did with the other side that worked pretty good was I just used the straight edge right here, and I marked the spots that were high kind of with a pencil. Just through here, I could see a little high in there. Just quickly, that's really good. A little high right there, and that knot, that's really good there. And across the edge, we get teeter-totter a little bit right here. And it didn't take but just a couple passes here just to knock those, basically just removing those pencil marks. And then rechecking it. Just as simple as that. Now before we lay out for the diamond stones, we want to square the edges up, remove all the tool marks from the table saw. So on the end grain, we'll use a low angle plane. This is a little block plane. One of my favorites. Listen to this snap. Oh, it's a good sound. So just square everything up. Make sure that we get those saw blades out. We don't want to see that. Now when we flip it over here, when we're with the grain, here we go, you still see the saw marks in there, the burn marks from the blade. Then we can just use our regular hand planer. And we're going with the grain. Look at that, it's just beautiful. You know, you think that they're flat going through the table saw, but they're not. I can see high, 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 all the high spots and all the low spots. Everything will come correct here now. Beautiful. It's just beautiful. So satisfying. This I can't tell you. That's really nice there. So here we have, I mean, it's just a beautiful piece of red oak. And having it, I don't know what it is, but leveling it out, doing it all by hand, taking that bow out of it, and everything you can see, you know, just the subtle planer marks in there, the hand plane marks and the sharp edges, everything being cut with the blade. Takes just an ordinary piece of wood like this and it almost makes it something special. I mean, it really, it's hard to describe it until you actually do it. It's a nice, beautiful piece of red oak. So what we're going to do now is this will be for the next video here, is we'll lay these guys out. We want everything to be uniform. We want to look like whoever did it cared. So we'll go with the coarse, the fine, and the super fine. And I'll take those little rubber silicone feet off of there. We'll get rid of those, and we'll recess those down in there about 1/8 of an inch with our chisel. And then we'll wrap it in a little piece on the bottom that we can clamp this into our vise. And when we're ready to sharpen, whatever it be, a chisel or irons or any of our tools that we sharpen on a flat surface, we'll have this. We can clamp it in the vise. We'll just grab it. It'll be all secure. The diamonds will be protected. And I think it's a wonderful design. So my hat's off to Paul for that. We want more manly manners is the cry in the email that I hear all the time. Well, you've got it. Box number 1 will take you to number 2 of the standalone manly manners, and you're not going to want to miss this one. This is something that I have been guilty of and was a great lesson for me. Also, number 2, if you would like to invest in a set of the the diamond sharpeners, the EZE-LAP. These are American made. They're a bit of an investment. I know they're expensive. That's why it took me years before I finally committed to buy them, a set. But after using them, I'll tell you, you saw how well that planer, that hand plane cut. That was just a very brief, first time I ever tried it, quick sharpening on those diamonds, and it was just extraordinary. So you can click on that, you can go over and take a look at those. I'd probably recommend the 3 if I were to start with. Maybe you can buy them one at a time and kind of string it out, maybe one a month. But the coarse one's the most expensive, around $70 or so, and then the other ones go down to $60, $50 or so. But I know, but if you do woodworking and you like to keep your, is just everything you can do with that. The other thing, box number 3, if you would like to have a wonderful book, this is Artisan Woodworking 1 and 2 by Paul Sellers. I'll put a link to that as well. Great pictures, beautifully done. After doing our own book, I can really appreciate how much work and effort went into this. There's how to build your own carpenter's bench in here. There's how to sharpen tools, how to select which tools you want to get. It's a great book. And I don't know Paul Sellers. I've just watched every video that he's ever done, and I subscribe to his blog and such. But a great book. I'll put that also in the link. You can click on that box and get yourself a copy of that. It'd be a great gift. Yeah. So what else was there? Manly Manners, Diamond Stones, and Woodworking 1 and 2. That's it. So we'll see you guys on the next video.